My name is Kara Warner. I'm a contributor to Vanity Fair. Super excited that you all decided to turn out tonight for this special film. I get to talk to creators and artists sometimes, and I'm very excited to bring one out tonight. Please welcome, the reason you're here, writer-director Halfdan Ullmann Tøndel. Renata is feeling a little under the weather, so unfortunately she can't join us, but we will talk about her at length. She will be with us in spirit. I would love to hear you kind of talk about the origin story of this film, because it was long in gestation. You know, it wasn't, I feel like it's almost 10 years, right?
Yeah,
To get it
9
good?
years, yeah.
Yeah. What inspired this piece and like what you wanted to explore here?
For me, it started with the character that Renata plays, actually. So I had her in mind for a very long time, more than 9 years, and I didn't know, you know, what film she was going to be in. But I had a very strong idea of her traits and things like that, and her personality. And then me and Renata made a short film together in 2016, and that was just an amazing experience. And then I asked, you know, a couple of days after if she wanted to play this character, even though she didn't have a name, she didn't have a film, but she wanted to do that. And then I heard this story about two 6-year-old boys on a camping trip. You know, it was just a 15-second story, but it was quite similar, and my imagination started spinning based on that. And I also been working in a primary school for 3 years, so it's, you know, it became like a sandbox of opportunities where I could explore a lot of themes and characters I wanted to do.
Right, yeah, because there's so many layers here, as I'm sure you guys are now thinking and wondering as you sit here and digest this film. Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with Renata? Because you guys were friends before, right? So it helped, I don't know if that enhances the experience when you're kind of writing it and then you get to work together.
Yeah, we've been very close friends since we made the short film, and of course writing something specifically for an actor is always a very good thing, because you kind of know how she talks and know you know what she's capable of doing. So it gives me as a writer and a director a lot of opportunities and a lot of inspiration to do that. And on set we kind of pushed each other a lot to the limits, to be honest.
Right. I think I read that when You're the Worst Person in the World, won at Cannes, the first thing she said was...
Yeah, so because to get funding in Norway, that's a highly competitive kind of thing, because you need state funding to make a film, and I was struggling for a lot of years to make this film happen. We were very close many times, but we always got rejected, and of course that's always it's like not the best for your morale when you have a script that doesn't become a film. But Renata had really strong belief in the project the whole time, and yes, the night she won in Cannes with The Worst Person in the World, she sent me a text, imagine how great this is for our project. So of course her moral support in this has been quite amazing.
Yeah, I love that, because I think we, in appreciating film, getting to talk to people who make film, also wonder how in the heck does anything get made these days, because again, it is so hard, and especially when something is so original. Can you talk a little bit about like exploring the tone and kind of, I feel, at least when I watched, I felt like there's a great mystery that you do a good job of not kind of directly telling the audience where to go, but we get to kind of root for different characters, which I think is so fun. Can you talk about that by design, or kind of just enjoying playing with that?
Yeah, for me it was, I mean, it's a mix between different things. I wanted to make a drama, of course, but I also wanted to make a satire in a way. So the school people are kind of the satirical elements, and the parents are the drama elements, if we can say it like that. And the first half is it's very much dialogue, and I was of course inspired by the process by Kafka. You know how they're just talking without any real content, and you know, but at the same time the allegations keeps on rising, even though not so much new information coming to the table. I was very inspired by Louis Buñuel, you know, how he made the satires, in a very serious way. So for me, it was like this film was really like, a social realistic chamber play that turns into more of a nightmare, and that was kind of the conceptual idea of the film, and treating it like a funnel almost, starting it in the open and then going into the dark.
Yeah, I feel like we can kind of feel that feeling of foreboding the whole time, which is good when it's not like terrifying, which I mean is a compliment. Two of the things I think are so incredible are the dance sequences, and then also the kind of extended laughing fit that Renata has. How were those scripted, and then kind of how did you work together to make them as affecting as I think they are?
Yes, so the laughing sequence, that's scripted, of course, and it was already there from the very beginning in the first draft, and I remember Renata reading it the first time, and in the script it says like, she laughs for a long time, she laughs for a long time, she laughs for a very long time, or something, and then she cries for a long time. And then Renata asked me how long is a long time, and I said around 7 minutes. And she said it's impossible, and I said I think you can do it. And then we never talked about the scene again until she came on set and did that, which was quite amazing. But it was of course a very intense day. We shot the scene for 10 hours. So yeah.
Yeah, did you have to kind of direct her through that, or was she sort of just as a performer figuring out how to, because the sustained laughter is so incredible, made me so uncomfortable. I know some people laugh with it, but I was sort of like,
yeah, you kind of laugh with her in the beginning maybe, but then you kind of swallow your laugh a little bit after a while. I mean, you of course you direct throughout that sequence, but I cannot tell her how to laugh, so that she has to figure out herself, which is why she's just an amazing actor. And so for me that day was really to stay calm and believe in the scene and believe in her, and staying like kind of quite persistent with what we were going to get. I mean, we shot it for 10 hours. And we needed and the laughing she got really fast, but the shift between the laughing and the crying, that was difficult. And in the end, of course, it's also a big editing job making that happen. But for me, what Renata shows in that scene it's quite extraordinary.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and she got 5 days off after that scene, so
very well earned and deserved.
Yeah.
And then the dance sequences.
Yeah.
How were those how did you envision them? Did they evolve?
Yeah, so the first dance sequence, it didn't. That is one of the most like improvised scenes in the film. I mean, it was supposed to be a dance sequence, and I knew the song that she was going to dance to, but it wasn't supposed to be that long. So that was kind of almost like a misunderstanding between the choreographer Renata and me. But I remember the choreographer and Renata showed me that dance, 5 days before shooting it, and I just absolutely loved it. And for me, filmmaking is about, trusting your feelings in a way. And in retrospect, I think it's just really, really nice way of telling. It's almost like her resurrection, trying to build herself up after the laughing scene. And also, it was a very good way of telling the audience, from now on, everything can happen. So it was like a warning sign of unpredictability for the rest of the film, which I kind of liked. And the last dance scene, that was very scripted from start to finish. So, yeah.
Yeah, beautifully done. Yeah, it seems like that. Were you able to shoot chronologically, or do you like to shoot? I don't know if that's an ability. I'm just thinking of how beautiful the sequence is in the rain, and when you were able to kind of do that.
Yeah, with this film we actually shot it chronologically, which is quite rare, and I've never done it before. But with this film, it made lots of sense to do it. So, and I think it gave a lot to the cast and the crew doing that, and we kind of went into the madness together in the school, and we were, trapped in the school together for 5 weeks or something, and yeah, that gave us a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you kind of write intentionally one location, or did it kind of, was that, so that was intentional?
Yeah, that was intentional. That was something I decided very early in like already in 2017, 2018 to do it in one location. And to be honest, like once I decided, I was struck by so much inspiration on how to do it. You know, with the blue room and with the hallways and with the architecture and with the stone, you know, floors and things like that, and the acoustic of the school and the cello playing. It was so many opportunities that I felt we can do. I remember sleeping over at my school when I was like 12 years old, which is something we can do in Norway. And I was really struck by the mystery of the school after hours. You know, it was almost like the school building soul coming alive. And it was also such a big contrast as well to how the school feels in the day with life and light.
I'm curious if, I actually would, not to poll the audience, but I'm curious if we all feel, or I am thinking about a villain, right? If there's like one villain, because I kept oscillating between like, oh, do I like her? Is he bad? How do you kind of feel about how people are reacting to whether or not, is everyone morally gray? Is that part of kind of what you're trying to bring up here?
Yeah, I think everyone is morally gray. I mean, the teacher, Sunna, she's in the film, she's kind of, you know, keeping herself maybe on the good side. She's getting a little bit carried away about, you know, her admiration for Elizabeth maybe, but in the script she was also more morally gray, but we had to remove that, unfortunately. Yeah, because it was the right thing to do. But I love when people coming over to me and say that they root for Sarah and they, you know, believe in her. To be honest,
right. Because
the film it's constructed for you to maybe sympathize with Elizabeth or root for her or whatever. But I tend to like tell people that if you're gonna watch it one more time, believe in everything Sarah says, and it will be quite difficult viewing experience.
Yeah, that's so interesting. I bet that's true. Do any of you wonderful attendees have questions? I can keep posing some, but since you're way in the back, go for it.
I just want to say congratulations on an incredibly unique film, really a masterpiece.
Thank you.
I just want to know what inspired the hand scene. You know, what you were thinking about, some of the ideas that you poured into that.
The hand scene. Like the dancing in the end? Yeah. So for me that was like two layers. The first layer was almost like a visualization of the theme in the film, or one of the themes in the film, like where does the line between play and abuse go? Because in the beginning you kind of see the playfulness of it, or she kind of enjoys being, you know, admired in that way, and at one point her boundaries being crossed, and then the scene becomes abusive. So you're kind of seeing an abusiveness, you know, visualized very like one-to-one almost. And also for me it was a very nice way to tell of Elizabeth's perspective on how she kind of sees the world around her, which I liked. And actually I wrote the scene first, and then I saw the Pina Bausch scene from Wim Wenders' film Pina, where all the men is touching, you know, the main character there in one of the choreographed sequences, and I was really inspired by that as well.
I know. Oh yeah, go ahead.
It seems like the music is a very critical part of the film in terms of the tone and the mood. And had you had the music in mind ahead of time, or was it composed after, or like at what pace did you have the music composed? Was it before, after, during?
So we had like the main theme. The composer, she gave me a draft before shooting, and I just loved what she did with that. when I played that music she made, or that draft, on set to a couple of scenes, it was too sentimental. So then we started a process of using the same theme, which is what we hear in the film, but making it more like mysterious and dark. And it was quite a long process of like 7-8 months, but where she was given a lot of freedom to express herself. I think, you know, that's one of the most beautiful things about making films is giving the artists that you work with a lot of, you know, expressive freedom. And she had never sang before in one of the soundtracks she had made, but I heard her voice like doing some like choir thing in some of the things she made for me, and I, you know, asked her if she just wanted to make a song, and that is what we heard in the beginning. So it was really a quite long process of trying and failing, but we always used, you know, the theme that we really enjoyed, and that I have to give a lot of credits to her finding that tone, which kind of suited for both the humorous elements and the more like dark, mysterious elements.
Yeah. One thing I was gonna just interject is, I have not said, but I don't know if you all know this, but this is his directorial debut, his first feature, which I think is pretty incredible. Yeah, I know you mentioned a short film, but can you talk a little bit about kind of how you've come to directing? Has it always been a passion for you? Have you kind of always loved film, or is it a lifelong dream and such? Or is
yeah,
it...
no, it was not. It was not a lifelong dream, or now it's a lifelong dream. But you know, because I have a quite like heavy-handed film family, so it was not like I was trying to escape from that, to be honest. And I studied psychology, economy, a lot of different things, but like fate would have it that I started on a journalism course, and without me knowing it, there was a film, you know, production class there as well. And I just loved it when I did that, and then I applied to film school, and after that I never looked back, and I you know, feel really at home making films. I'm not a very mindful person. I try to be, but when I'm shooting or being in pre-production, post-production, I'm really in the moment, and that's very rare for me, which is good.
Right, so it doesn't seem like family pressure to actually...
No, they didn't care.
Gotcha, but you didn't have to like grow up on sets, or you're just comfortable?
No, I didn't discuss Tarkovsky with my grandfather. You know, so.
Fair enough, fair enough. Can you talk about kind of like what you hope to do next? I feel like it's okay to say that you and Renata might be making another.
Yeah, I'm writing a new film. I'm just started. This is actually my last travel with this film, and so when I get back to Oslo next week, I will start writing immediately on the next project. And I've written a couple of pages, and I know what it's going to be, and I'm really excited about that project. It will, you know, expand quite a bit, but not in a natural way. And the role I'm writing for Renata, it will be quite extraordinary, I think, or I hope at least.
Yeah, how are you feeling kind of, I mean, to have the win at Cannes, and he's also nominated for a DGA award tomorrow, so it just seems fantastic, you know, for a first feature. How do you feel kind of on the other side of it? If this is your last travel thing kind of with this one, does it feel just surreal? Or?
Yeah, it feels surreal. And it's a strange thing, you know, because it took everything I had to make this film, to be honest, and it's really like my whole personality is like put in this film, for better and worse, and it's like a very new experience traveling around with the film, talking about it, and I enjoy it in most parts, but also like there's a lot of things in that process which is, it's not like creative stimulating, because it's very like a strange thing, because I can be very honest about this, but maybe stop.
Honestly, doing this, I mean, I know people get, it's a surprising thing.
I like these kind of things, but it's like you travel around for 10 months and you get a lot of praise, you get a lot of criticism, you kind of I can't help to take it personally, you know,
Sure.
and there's something very good about coming back to Norway to get back to the daily routines and start writing a new project, and this film has kind of, you know, turned my life upside down for better and worse. I can tell you the whole story there, but
Of course.
it's like I think it's good to put Armand in the closet quite soon
Sure, that makes
and
sense.
and leave that film.
Well, it's good. We're so happy you're
Yeah,
here.
but we are very happy to release it here in the
Yeah.
US, and it's it releases next Friday, I think, Valentine's Day.
Yes.
Perfect date movie.
Yes, that's what we were talking about that briefly outside. Well, I think we're so happy to be a part of kind of your last stop and getting this out to the United States,
Yeah.
and hope that it's not going to be 10 years between.
It's not.
films.
It's not going to be that. Thank you so much for having
Yes,
me.
thank you all so much for staying.
Thank you so much.
Great taste in French.